Welcome to the Spiritual Life Management Podcast, where we help you bring balance in your life and live to your fullest potential. With your host, Gretchen Smith. Hey, welcome back to another episode of Spiritual Life Management. This is Gretchen Smith coming into you today, and I just want to thank you so much for popping onto the podcast and tuning in, and I really appreciate everyone that's listening and giving great feedback. So thank you guys. Hey, so today is going to be a little bit of a more off-the-cuff, if you will, podcast, and this one is titled, You Can Do Hard Shit. Yes. That's right, you can do it. And hey, first of all, I want to say, if you're offended by the title, if you're offended by my language, I'm sorry, not sorry. I am going to be unapologetically me. And for whatever reason, I've had a bit of a foul mouth all of my life. Don't necessarily know why, but it is who I am. And if it offends you, this may not be the podcast for you. I'm going to resonate with who resonates with me, and so be it. So, the title of this podcast, You Can Do Hard Shit. Yes, I don't know why, but it really just hit me that people out there, especially during this really difficult time, need a little bit of inspiration. They need to know they can do and they can get through some really, really difficult times. I mean, if 2020 wasn't hard enough when we're starting out with this whole craziness that's going on in the world and these viruses and whatnot, and then we go into another year of it, and now we're into our second whole year of it. I mean, if that isn't hard enough, we're dealing with all kinds of other challenges. Even if we were back pre-pandemic, there is a lot of hard shit that goes on in people's lives, and I know, I've been there, and there's been so many times in my life where I was like, I don't even know if I can get through this. And sometimes we just need a little inspiration. We need some tools. We need to be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel and just give ourselves a little bit of a glimmer, a sparkle, a little bit of light at the end of that damn dark tunnel. So for anyone that's tuning in and you're going through some challenging times right now, whatever they may be, whether it's trying to get yourself through school, whether it's moving across country to be closer to family or have better weather, whatever challenges you may be faced with, maybe you're a single mom trying to work 2 jobs. I mean, times are tough out there, people, and we get faced with the craziest things. Perhaps we're dealing with somebody that has an illness that they're struggling with, or tragedy in our life. I mean, think about all the stuff we go through in our lives, basically without a manual, and we have to figure out how to get through this shit. It can be so challenging. You know, I reflect back on things that I've gone through in my life. And I'm not going to get into a lot of detail on this episode, but anybody that knows me knows I've gone through so much shit that if I were to have known I was going to go down this path and deal with some of it, I don't think I would think that I would have the resilience to get through it. So looking back, I'm like, thank God, thank the universe that I did not have the foresight to see that I was going to be faced with some of these challenges, because it would have been so daunting and so dark, and I would think that I would never be able to get through it. But what's so amazing is that when you don't have a choice, you can do some pretty damn incredible stuff in your life. And that's what I want you to know. We are absolutely incredible, miraculous humans that can do some amazing, incredible stuff. But when given the chance to think about it, we'd be scared shitless if we knew that we could do it, or if we knew we would even be faced with it. So because we are faced with a pandemic, and traveling is really difficult during this time. And I absolutely love to travel, or I love the thought of traveling. And I would love to see more and more and more of this beautiful planet that we're on. I've turned to watching a couple of my favorite shows on TV, one of them being The Amazing Race. And yes, it's currently the end of January 2022, and we have a new episode of The Amazing Race back on for America. But what I did was I actually found The Amazing Race in Australia, and I thought, how cool. I want to see another perspective of how they do this and basically be able to travel along their journey and see different areas of Australia. So Australia is basically only traveling in Australia. For whatever reason, I picked a season of The Amazing Race Australia that was season 5. And I absolutely loved it, but I think the best thing for me, besides seeing the countryside and seeing places I would probably never see in my lifetime, is a huge, huge inspiration. One of the individuals on the show, her name is Sky Blue Henderson, no relation to me. But anyhow, Sky Blue, she was born without a hand. So she has a little bit of her forearm, but she does not have a hand. And watching her do some of these tasks was absolutely amazing. She's probably one of the biggest inspirations that I've seen in a long, long time. For instance, they had to rappel down this waterfall, and she did it like a champ. I mean, she just flew down that thing. There wasn't one task that she did that stopped her or held her back. And I was just thinking, how amazing of her to be able to go through this process. And her purpose, one of her purposes for being on the show, is she wanted to show people that may have challenges or may have disabilities that just because you have this challenge or disability that might seem to be holding you back, you can do anything that anyone else can do. I know a few other people that have situations like this where maybe they're missing a limb and so on and so forth, and they have been incredible inspirations as well. So those are just a few examples of people that have overcome disabilities and have just risen to the top. Now, I understand that we're not all faced with that type of a challenge, but at some point in our life, we are faced with some really hard shit. If you are going through something right now, I want to give you a few pointers and a few tips on what you can do to overcome some of your big challenges. Because everything is difficult until it becomes easy. Yes, remember that. Everything is difficult until it becomes easy in life. Look, we didn't come out of the womb and start walking. We practiced walking for months and months and months, sometimes a year. And we'd fall and we'd get back up again. And we'd fall and we'd get back up again. But we kept trying. Can you imagine if we had to learn how to walk at our adult age? How many would throw in the towel? And how many of us would be like, oh, hell no. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to keep trying, and I'm going to learn, and I'm going to get it right. Whether you are dealing with a difficult circumstance, learning new skills, pushing barriers, or striving for goals, you will be faced with adversities. Guaranteed. Giving yourself the grace of having patience with yourself is one of the greatest gifts of self-love practices that you can hold. Everything is difficult until it becomes easy. Don't give up. Be resilient. You can do this. Yes, there will be some dark days, and it will seem like you are just faced with nothing but challenges to overcome. And you may not even see the light at the end of the tunnel. I know, like I said, I've been there. I can tell you that no matter how difficult it gets, if you just try to keep yourself focused, you can get through challenging times. And here are a few tips and reminders to push you through difficulties that you may be faced with. There is a lesson to ease the process in each action or step we take. So be mindful of that. Look for the lessons. There are little tips. There are things that you will learn about yourself. There will be things that you will learn about the process along the way. They may be filling up your love tank. They may be giving you little nuggets of things you can build upon. But there will always be a little lesson to ease the process in each action you take along the way. So look for those little lessons. Another tip or reminder to help you push through difficulties you may be faced with are to know that through continued practice, trial and error, we achieve and we can do great things. Practice makes perfect. Keep going, keep pushing, keep practicing until you make perfect, because you can do great things. The next thing to keep in mind is that we may be faced with pain or more challenges before we make the greatest breakthrough. You never know when your breakthrough is coming. Therefore, yes, you may experience even more pain or more challenges, and things may even get more difficult right before you have your greatest breakthrough. So keep that in mind. Don't let that get you down, and keep pushing through, because your greatest breakthrough may be right around the corner, right after your most difficult challenge. Another great tip to keep in mind is to keep focused on the outcome. I can remember during one of my most difficult and darkest times, I didn't think I had an ounce of strength left in me to fight. I felt like I was coming to a point where I just couldn't fight anymore. And I have to tell you that absolutely keeping focused on the outcome was the only thing that got me through. So always keep focused on the outcome. Know your whys as to why you are striving through to your outcome. Keep in touch with that passion inside that's pushing you along, and just keep focused on the outcome. One of my greatest and most just heartfelt practices for keeping me through to a point of resilience is practicing gratitude and being grateful for all of the knowledge, the love, the support, and lessons that you learn along your journey. During really, really, really freaking hard times, the best thing that you can do is just really be focused on what you're grateful for. There's always a little something to be grateful for, whether it's just simply having a roof over your head, heat in your home, a bit of food on your table, having family or friends that can support you, or simply the lessons you learn that you know will make you stronger is something to be grateful for. Sometimes in the midst of chaos, challenging times, difficulties, we forget to focus on the little things that we're grateful for. And when it comes down to it, there's really a lot in life to be grateful for. I don't care how minor it is, how small it seems. Ensure that you practice gratitude. Which leads me to something else that I mentioned just now. Ensuring that you have a support system can be extremely beneficial when you're going through some challenging times, whether it's simply just trying to get through school and get your degree that you've been struggling with, or whether it's trying to take steps necessary to get, a higher wage or more money on the table, whether it's simply trying to get yourself to get out of bed in the morning. Find and lean on a support system. Even if that's just one simple friend or one simple person that you know, a support system can take you a long way. Don't forget, in order to have a support system, that means that you need to be able to be vulnerable and share and let someone else know what you're going through, what you're striving for, what you're hoping to gain or learn or become in your life, what your successes that you desire are. So be open, be vulnerable, be willing to share. You'll be surprised how many people are willing to support you throughout your challenges and throughout your difficulties if you simply learn how to open up and be a little bit vulnerable. You may have support out there in the least expecting areas. And always have hope. Hope can get you through some of the darkest times. Just always know that hope is there for you to lean on her. Keep that sparkle and glimmer of hope alive. Remember what you're thankful for, no matter how hard things always get. Similarly to being grateful. Also, make sure that you're focused on what you can look forward to. Surround yourself with positive people, talk about hope, and keep that loving inspiration of hope burning. Sometimes it can seem like when things get really challenging, when we're overwhelmed, when we have a lot on our plate, that we're not making any forward movement. Remember that one tiny step forward is always better than one step back. And even if you do take a step back, you can always make up ground. So keep pushing forward. no matter how small, no matter how great or how grand the setback may have been. So one step forward is always greater than a step back. But if you do start stepping back, remember to stop, reset, refocus, readjust, and move forward. And the last thing that I'm going to leave you with today is to believe in yourself. You can do hard shit. Like I said before, it's just so amazing what we can do as human beings. It's absolutely incredible. We can even do something that is miraculous. Granted, it may not happen every day, we may seldom hear about it, but we can absolutely do some amazing, miraculous things in our life. We are so much stronger, and you are so much stronger, so much more resilient, and you are such an incredible person. It's amazing what you can do, but you have to believe in yourself, and you can do it, and I know you can, and you can push through, and you can be a goal-getter, and you can do some amazing hard shit. So I'm just letting you know. So remember, believe in yourself. You can get through this one step at a time, albeit it may be a tiny step, but one step at a time, you can get through it. Always have the hope. Practice gratitude, be grateful, have love, support, and lessons that you've learned along your way to power you through and keep you going, keep you focused on that target. Know that you may be faced with pain and there may be more challenges along the line. However, right before that darkness may be your greatest breakthrough. There is a lesson and there is a process in each of our action steps as we take. Learn from your lessons and learn from the processes, and it will help you get through the very difficult things, because everything is difficult until it becomes easy. Thank you for listening to the Spiritual Life Management Podcast. If you would like to connect, please reach out to me at GretchenSmithCoaching@gmail.com or follow me on Instagram at GretchenSmithCoaching and send me a DM. Currently, I am taking coaching clients, so if you're interested, I have a 30-minute free consultation. So reach out again at GretchenSmithCoaching@gmail.com. If you've enjoyed this podcast, please like and subscribe so that you are notified when new episodes become available. Namaste.